Hey you guys, it's me, Katie Frazier, and I'm coming to you to share some things today that I know that you guys have seen on the internet. It's regarding these lies that have been spread about my pastor, Apostle David E. Taylor. Many of you have probably seen a video on YouTube or Facebook, and it says something like "Pastor fails miserably" or something like that. And I just want to let you know that this video posted about an African American pastor was posted by my own dad. His name is Rick Frazier, and he posted these deposition clips that were chopped up, manipulated, changed to make it look like this African American pastor said things that he didn't and meant things that he didn't. The first thing is the deposition videos. The deposition that you see on the internet where Pastor Taylor is speaking, and it looks like they made it seem to look like it's some sort of FBI investigation. It is actually from my parents' divorce hearing.
We're on the record. The time now is 2:41 p.m. in the matter of Deborah Ann Frazier versus Ricky Allen Frazier. It's November 12, 2014.
And then my dad, out of his racist anger, he actually had subpoenaed Apostle Taylor to testify at my parents' divorce hearing. But he had, the whole time he had this malicious intent to film him. And because of that, he's been able to promote this video, but saying that it's under like a federal investigation, which is a lie because it was from my parents' divorce hearing. But he was able to promote that lie that it was from a federal investigation because he had that video footage. And so then when he uploaded this video onto the internet, he lied saying that it was from some sort of federal investigation, which it was not.
You see, literally it says Frazier divorce hearing. The lady talking is my dad's attorney.
Colleen Renane appearing on behalf of Rick Frazier.
And my dad brought him in for questioning about my mom, her volunteering with the ministry and stuff like that. But they really just asked Pastor Taylor all these unrelated questions, and it gave my dad more footage to be able to post clips of him on the internet to make him look bad, like he was stealing money. It was a trick from the very beginning. My dad was trying to set him up.
You need to listen to this. My dad admits that he put the deposition video up on the internet and that he spliced and diced it.
I posted those deposition videos, and they're spliced and diced.
I'm making this video again because when I was younger, my dad sexually abused my sisters and I feel like nothing is really being done. I'm not at all angry at my dad. Yes, I'm upset with his decisions, but that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this so he can get the help he needs and so other people will not be hurt. The reason I'm bringing up the racism in this is because my dad, I heard him say out of his own mouth, my mom, she supports this ministry led by Apostle David E. Taylor. And when she made a donation a few years back, I remember my dad saying, I cannot believe she gave that money to a black minister. For some reason for him, race was involved. And so all of you who are spreading these lies, spreading that video about a pastor failing miserably, which he didn't, you guys are all helping and aiding and abetting a man who is racist and who has led a life of crime up into this point. And this is just another one of the crimes that he is committing. So I'm here today to share with you guys just a few of those crimes because he needs to be stopped. Not only has my dad put negative media up about the ministry, but he also has gone so far as to threaten the churches associated with Apostle David E. Taylor. For example, in Seattle, Washington, there was a pastor, an Apostle Helen Sadler. She was going to have Apostle David E. Taylor to her church, but my dad, when he heard that, he sent her a letter basically threatening her, saying, do not have him there. If you do, you will be under FBI investigation because Apostle Taylor's under FBI investigation, which he wasn't. It was a lie. But my dad still threatened her with this. And the thing is, my dad is starting to get out of control to where even he's affecting the safety of other human beings, other lives that should not be involved with this. So the pastor, Apostle Helen Sadler, she still was having Apostle Taylor out to her church. The threats did not scare her. But literally right after receiving those letters, shortly after, her whole church was vandalized. They wrote KKK on there. There were swastikas. They wrote the N-word all over the building. It was vandalized. Windows were broken. And he admits on tape to doing it.
I went out to Washington and I painted KKK symbols on the church out there in Washington. While I was out in Washington painting KKK symbols on the church, my legs got broke.
My dad even dressed up our family dog as a KKK member.
I mean, it just shows you that, his racism and how he feels about the African American culture. After I had first come out and called him a racist, I became a member of the NAACP just to kind of show that he wasn't a racist. So he's really using them, and just because he made a donation, since he's able to do so. So he's only doing this in order to try to look as if he's in good standing with them.
And here's another thing, all the crimes he's done, people need to see that he's a true racist. When you're supporting a man like this, when you're supporting lies that he is promoting, you are helping a racist, because my dad, even all the crimes he's done predominantly have been against the black culture and, African American people, except for the crimes, how he abused me and my siblings. He abused these underprivileged kids in Detroit at a camp, and most of the kids there were predominantly African American.
Apostle Taylor truly loves all nations and all people.
Anybody who came from anywhere overseas, I want you to stand first. Where are you from?
I'm from Dubai in United Arab Emirates.
All the way from Dubai. Come on, give Dubai is in the house tonight.
I'm from Austria.
Come on, give her a great big God bless you. All the way from Austria. Where else you're from?
I am from Estonia.
Come on, give Estonia a great big God bless you.
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Come on, give New Zealand is in the house.
Brisbane, Australia.
Australia is in the house.
Paraguay.
Paraguay.
Portugal.
Portugal.
Spain.
Spain. Where you from?
From India.
Give her a great big God bless you.
Kuwait, Middle East.
Kuwait. Kuwait is in the house.
The Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
From China.
Come on, give China is in the house.
From London, England.
London, England.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Barbados.
Barbados. He brought his flag.
Jamaica.
Jamaica.
I'm from Nassau, Bahamas.
Give her a great big God bless you. Where else?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
From Switzerland.
Switzerland.
I'm from Poland.
Poland.
Yes.
Give her a great big God bless you.
We come from Norway.
Norway. Come on, give them a great big God bless you. I'm from Japan. Stand on your feet. Give them a great big God bless you. Oh, there go Mother Kim, Jenny Kim. She's from Korea.
I've seen people come to these services here and they get healed of diabetes, they get healed of cancer. I myself was at one of these services and I was healed out of my wheelchair.
I've been so blessed by this ministry personally, and I was healed out of my wheelchair.
I see similar people come in wheelchairs, on crutches and canes, and the power of God touches them at these services. And I see other people come and they give their lives to the Lord. Souls are being saved.
I was born and raised Muslim, and I read the book Face to Face. Jesus appeared to us. We felt so much peace. We felt so much love. Jesus saved me. Jesus gave me an extension of my life. We want to thank our precious Apostle David Taylor for opening this to us, and precious Jesus that has touched us, has visited us, and we love him so much.
As I read Face to Face book, and as I listened to Pastor David Taylor, it helped me broke down and break this paradigm that I had, this religious spirit that I had, and it really helped me to walk in more love, because I'm getting to know through this man of God and through the visitation that I have from the Lord how to walk in love. When I had the face-to-face personal encounter with the Lord, I didn't feel any condemnation at all. This face-to-face encounter that I had with the Lord Jesus Christ showed me he's a true person with his own personalities and characteristics.
I was brought up as a Hindu, worshiping idols. I was on the internet one day, and these books on Amazon was just going by. This huge hand came over my mouse and clicked on this book. I never heard about Apostle Taylor. I didn't know who he was. And so when I looked it up, he began to say about his encounters with Jesus. And I wanted to know, who is this man? Who can even give me this? Who had this relationship? I bought the book and I was consumed. And as I began reading the book, I had my first encounter with the Lord.
And we were in a service one day with you, And you had said ahead of time, which is amazing in itself, that the Lord is going to come to you. And about a week or two later, it did happen that way. He came, and he came this close, face to face. You cannot have this type of revelation, this type of understanding to tell me ahead of time that the Lord is going to come to you. You can't have that unless there's a relationship, that face-to-face relationship. Very apparent that you work with Jesus Christ personally. It's not a regular ministry. It's not just another ministry. Well, there are many great ministries out there, but this works with Jesus Christ, introducing him to a whole nation, to a whole world, to a whole generation. It's wonderful. It will change this nation just as surely as Jesus changed the face of the world.
Apostle David Taylor has been a real blessing and a real father to me. When Face to Face came to my church, I saw Jesus, my wife saw Jesus, my daughter saw Jesus, the church members saw Jesus. All right, and I know that all over the city is happening. I love Apostle David Taylor because he brings you not into ministry, but into relationship. And out of the relationship, your ministry will explode.
So when you're promoting these lies, you're turning souls away from the kingdom of heaven. You still need to come, no matter what anyone else says, come and see for yourself. You need to come and see what is happening here at the services. People are being saved, and, even come and see how the money is being used for yourself. Don't be influenced by the lies, but come experience God's presence. And so that's why I'm here to share with you the truth, so that you will no longer, you need to be convicted for sharing these lies, for promoting and supporting racism. So I'm here today to share with you the truth. This pastor here is not stealing money from charities. My dad has been stealing money from charities.
So in this one recording, my dad said that he raised $500 million, or $500 million for charity.
I have raised $500 million for charity. $500 million for charity.
My question is, where did the $500 million go? Because even according to his 990, the tax exempt form for the IRS, it did not go into the charity. So, my dad hasn't been charged yet for any of these crimes. But that's just because he's been paying all these people off. A news station in Kansas City, Missouri actually already investigated my dad and the questionable use of his charity finances and spending back in 2014. One of the specialists there even said that she would call it a scam. I mean, he brings in so much money, but such a little percentage of it goes to the actual charities that they claim to be helping. And so they already investigated him for this and put this out on the news, in the internet, but he still hasn't formally been charged for any of these crimes.
What if you gave $100 to a veterans charity, only to learn that just a small fraction of what you gave ever went to help anyone in need?
CAR is helpingvets.org, a car donation charity that, as the name says, helps veterans. This charity spends the vast majority of what it takes in, on average 83%, on running the charity, not on veterans in need.
I would call it a scam, even though it's a perfectly legal operation.
Sandra Minuti with Charity Navigator says that's way too much. Good charities usually spend no more than 30% on operations. The worst year for this car donation charity was 2012, when tax records show it raked in $4.6 million and gave only 3%. Or $182,000 to the groups it says it's helping. In 2011, the Better Business Bureau of St. Louis issued a warning, saying, among other things, that the man in charge, Rick Frazier, used to run the car donation program for the Purple Heart Foundation. They sued him for deception and destroying incriminating documents that they said proved he was cheating them out of money. We found Charity Funding, the company paid to run the charity's day-to-day operations. The man in charge is Rick Frazier, the same guy the Better Business Bureau warned you about.
Can you turn that off?
Rick Frazier's brother Steve stopped us short. Is it a legitimate charity?
It is, but...
Then, why wouldn't you want to answer these questions? No answers here, so we paid a visit to Rick Frazier's home. The charity business seems to be treating him well.
Even just with my mom in my dad's divorce case, the way I saw my mom treated by the judge, I knew that she had to be being paid off by my dad. And, later on now my dad has admitted to paying off the judge.
I paid the judge. I paid the attorney.
The amount of money that when I was growing up, that he would tell my siblings and I that he had, because he would even just mention things like, from the charities that he would bring in, $500 million that he's brought in with charities. And he's saying, look, if I only take 10% of that, that's $50 million. But so we're saying, Dad, you said you don't have $50 million. Like in the divorce, he's saying that he only has $4 million, so my mom got, half of that. We're saying, well, so then how do you have this other $50 million?
The charity pays me 10%. So $50 million provided us a nice house, a nice living.
I know that he had accounts overseas that he was investing money in, like in Greece. And so it seemed like he was hiding money, and, that he did not have to, even in the divorce case, that he hid money from my mom and didn't even give her the settlement that she really deserved.
And what's crazy is actually, the very thing that my dad has tried to do and accuse Apostle Taylor of, those are actually things that my dad is guilty of himself. I mean, with the charity work, with everything, the things that he's been accusing Apostle Taylor of, Apostle Taylor has not done, but my dad has. And he even, he put a false home on there to make you think that Pastor Taylor is spending all this money, when in actuality, the man of God lives in an apartment. That is all he really owns. They show this house that Apostle Taylor lives in, but it's not the house that Apostle Taylor lives in. It was actually a fake home that Apostle Taylor doesn't even know about. He has nothing to do with. But they try to make it look like Apostle Taylor was living this lavish lifestyle with ministry funds, which he wasn't. But by putting up that fake home, that's what my dad made it look like. You need to listen to this.
God put the wrong picture of his house.
My dad also lied about the cars. When people have decided to bless Apostle Taylor with expensive cars, he actually gives them back into the ministry. To this day, Apostle Taylor has given all the cars that were given to him back into the ministry. He owns one car, a leased Range Rover, and everything else he has sacrificed. Just like he has with other things. He sacrifices so much to bless people's lives. Even, the IRS, they've investigated these accounting records after my dad had put out these lies and, instigated really like a witch hunt against Apostle Taylor. But after they did the research, the IRS, it was discovered and proved that Apostle Taylor, he told the truth on his taxes and the money spent for the ministry. My dad just continues to promote lies even when the truth has already been found out. My dad continually lies to make Apostle Taylor seem like he's misspending money. My dad, I myself have seen the ministry financial records because my dad has record of this. But Apostle Taylor's only receiving a yearly salary of $35,000 a year. That's extremely low compared to the money that Apostle Taylor deserves. But, Apostle Taylor, he's so integral with money. He does this intentionally so that more resources, the finances that come in, can be poured back into the ministry. Even all the royalties from his books, like his best-selling books, those actually go back into the ministry. Those don't go to Apostle Taylor. And the thing is, my dad knows this. So when my dad spliced the video, he tried to make it seem like huge amounts of money were not being used properly. Even he tried to make it seem like a lot of money was being spent on things like clothes at places like Versace, Louis Vuitton. But this is just another one of the things that my dad has exaggerated about and lied about. Apostle Taylor in reality has only shopped here like a couple times his entire life. But my dad deliberately lied about how much his belts cost. I know they look beautiful and they're really nice, but in reality, the belts, Apostle Taylor's spending like $35 or a little over $100 for the belts. And the most expensive one was like a few $100s, but my dad, he's making it seem like they're spending $5,000 to $6,000. I've seen the records, and my dad has, but he still spreads the lies and exaggerates details to make it seem like the man of God is misspending money. My dad admits to paying Google for ads that push negative media and lies about Apostle David E. Taylor. My dad literally spent $96,000 in just 1 month. You can see it on the image from the month of June to the beginning of July to push these negative ads to try to stop people from coming to Joshua Media Ministries to this crusade against cancer. And who's going to try to stop people from coming to an event that is fighting and helping people with cancer? He's clearly not even thinking anymore to spend that much money just in 1 month promoting such negative and false advertising. That's insane. He also has admitted to putting up websites with his own money to promote these false accusations and lies about the man of God as well. Just something that happened, and this gets really graphic and it can be disturbing to listen to, but when I was just about 3
4 years old is the first time I really remember this happening. But I remember my dad and even his friend Paris, who lived with us for a couple years at the time. And they both came into my room. I remember it was late at night. I remember everything about this room now just because of this memory of what happened. And I remember that first they came in and gave me like Benadryl. They gave me medicine. And so it made me like really sleepy. I just remember they gave me medicine, and then I just felt weird after that. But then a little bit later they came in and they both laid in the bed with me. And that this happened when I was just 3-4 years old. And so this was not like a one-time thing. Like, this continually happened. And my dad, he would always, I remember we moved houses and I got a new room. I even was in a room with my sister. And so I didn't think that my dad would still continue to come and lay in the bed and inappropriately touch me and all that, but it didn't stop. And even then later on, I found out that this started happening to my siblings too, to my other sisters, that, that they ended up sharing a room, and my dad would come and lay in the bed with both of them and do the same exact thing. And so, I found out that this was happening to my sisters, and then later I found out that this had been happening to other boys. But the thing that is difficult, almost hardest about this, is that I had gone, when I was a little girl, 4 or 5 years old, and then later on, a few years after that, and a few years after that even, multiple times gone to Child Protective Services. But I thought, I trusted him because he was my dad, he was coming from this place of love, but he didn't love, that's not normal, the way to be loved like that. And so then I see that I've gone to Child Protective Services, but nothing was done, and this was all swept under the rug from, my testimony, from my sister's testimonies. And now later on I find out, it makes sense because my dad admits to paying them off.
Yeah, but here's how I've got away with it. I pay everybody. I paid that police officer, I paid the CPS people, I keep paying all these people, and all these people just kind of keep coming out, I keep slipping them up. I paid the judge, I paid the attorney, I paid the GALs, okay?
But just the fact that, someone who is in place in the government to help you could be so corrupt as to just sweep this under the rug, to where it continued to happen, not just to me, but then I found it happened to my sisters. And, even just recently I've been, I knew about my dad molesting boys. This camp for younger boys in Detroit, he served there from like 1979 to 1986. And I remember hearing, my dad had to leave the camp because they found out about his sexual indiscretions, and there had been reports that boys said that he was molesting them, that my dad had been molesting them. So I remember hearing about that a few years ago. But then recently I've been actually able to connect with some of the victims, with some of the men, to hear testimonies from other men. And these are grown men, like we're talking, they're now 40, 50 years old. And they still struggle. Like if they hear my dad's voice on the radio, or if someone mentions his name, they still relive the things that he did to them at that camp that he was at. And people would come forward, but it took 7 years for him finally to say, you know what, okay, I'll resign. At that point, there was enough evidence that the camp really, they had to let him go at that point. Here are some of the actual court documents where Rick Frazier was molesting little boys.
My relationship with Rick Frazier started while I was the age of 12. That summer, I attended the Joy of Jesus summer camp. Rick was my camp counselor. The other side of Rick Frazier confused and hurt me as a child. Rick Frazier made sexual advances and masturbated close to me. He also asked for actual sexual contact with me when I was almost 19 years old.
My dad actually admitting to one of the boards that he was actually kicked off of, but to one of the charity boards, he was explaining them in detail, his indiscretions with men, even how he would, ask men if they would have sex with him and offer them money, like up to like $100,000, like we're talking thousands of dollars, $100,000 easily.
According to my friend, Mr. Frazier demanded that he have sex with him on the office table. Let's just bang it on the table. Mr. Frazier offered him $20,000 to have sex with him. When he refused and tried to leave, Mr. Frazier raised the offer to $80,000. I am aware that Mr. Frazier paid Paris Harmond a six-figure salary, and Mr. Harmond did not work for charity funding. I have heard that Mr. Harmond was a former male stripper. Mr. Frazier told me to go to the file cabinets and pull certain files. When I was facing the file cabinets, Mr. Frazier jumped up behind me, grabbed me from behind, and thrust his genitals into my buttocks, and also groped my genitals with his free hand. Mr. Frazier said, "Come on, let's just do it on the table really quick."
Behind closed doors, my dad is a homosexual. And even like I remember he was telling my siblings and he was talking with us, like he would be grossed out when my mom and him were married. He would be grossed out about like touching my mom or having sex with her. Like he would describe that to us and just describe how disgusting it was to him. And I'm thinking like, well, you're a guy, don't you like, wouldn't you like my mom? That's why you're married. But no, I mean, he's behind closed doors. He likes men.
Okay, now we're going to kind of get into girls. One of Mom's biggest grudges was that I would not touch Mom's vagina because it grossed me out. It's like I am with blood.
I didn't need to know this.
It's like, well, yeah, you do, because it's like with blood. How blood grosses me out and I get lightheaded. The thought of putting fingers down there in the vagina always made me go like that. And Mom always wanted me to rub down there, and I couldn't rub down there. Okay?
Silly boys.
All right. Okay. So therefore, take a side. This is the other thing. Okay, Rick likes boys. Which one is it? Either I like boys or I like girls. They're saying, hey,
be both.
No, it can't be both. No, it can't be. You either are molesting girls or you're molesting boys. Pick a side of the road. And
We're picking the side of the truth.
My dad even put out a video where he has the other three kids, my siblings, saying that he didn't do anything to them, that he didn't abuse them, he didn't hurt them. They say it on this video. But when you hear on these videos that all the time, they've been confronting him in the past, they've, called him a sex offender, called him a liar, and they've confronted him about his crimes. But now he's threatening them. So I know that they've got to be scared and afraid of him, and that's why they did that video.
My name is Deborah Hoskins, and I'm coming to you today because I want you to hear the truth and not fall prey to the lies that Rick Frazier has been spreading.
I was married to him, so you know what? No one else knows him better than I did. I was with him for 19 years.
The three kids you see on a video online are actually my three kids that still live with their dad. And in that video, they are admitting that he didn't do anything. That is an absolute lie. And the only reason they have it up is because Rick is threatening them. Their father is threatening them if they didn't do it. I have the CPS documents with these kids admitting that Rick has touched them inappropriately and molested them. So they are lying. You will even notice that it was posted from Rick's page. I lived with him. He used to beat me, and he was very abusive. In addition to being emotionally abusive, he was physically abusive.
Some organizations were deceived by this racist campaign from my dad. They even stopped sharing about the ministry. Some organizations that did this were actually Charisma Magazine, the Elijah List, and even just some churches that my dad was in contact with. Because of this racist campaign, they were actually deceived by him, and so they stopped sharing about the ministry. People who were deceived also uploaded the video on YouTube. And what's so sad is that the majority of the people doing that are African American, and they're actually promoting what a racist white man has said. People with account names like I Hate Liars, the Advised TV show, Apostle, and Too Cold. Pastors and churches even have seen this, and they didn't take time to investigate what happened. They just believed the lie. But now the truth is coming out. And there's been other people, so many other people that have been deceived by all these videos on YouTube, World Star Hip Hop, Instagram, Facebook, and other social media websites. By my dad promoting all these wicked things. So many other people have been deceived just by innocently coming across these videos. There were 49 different banks who even denied loans because they looked at these lies on the internet. This generation believes anything that they see on the web, and anyone can post anything, even if they don't have integrity. But God has still been faithful, and the ministry's been blessed financially to be able to grow, even without the support from those banks.
even my dad recently, he has a lot of charities, and so there's websites for all these. And on one of the websites, he actually is so obsessed with, Apostle David E. Taylor and just trying to destroy him, that what he did is he took the same image that, there's this girl on one of the, Crusade Against Cancer banners that Apostle David E. Taylor has. There's a picture, the image of this girl who had cancer. And my dad took that exact same image and put that up on his website. The same website that is for the charity that he's stealing money from. And so he's using the exact same image that Apostle Taylor uses, but my dad is actually using it to bring in money and steal money from charities and manipulate people and make them think that their money is going to helping someone with cancer like that. But in reality, as I've seen, that the majority of the money that comes into the charity actually goes to my dad. And now, since I've been speaking out about this, and I've been, I saw the crimes that my dad was committing and how he was, just stealing the money from charities, not doing that properly, and I've been confronting him about, his molestation of young boys, even from such a long time ago, and then even how he abused me and my siblings. Just since I've been doing all of this, I feel that my life is in danger. Just since doing this, even my dad, he sent me messages and how I can never come back to his house again. Like, he's just upset at me, and I knew that was going to happen. But because of how he's so closely connected with, his brother, Michael Frazier, is Deputy Chief of Police here in Royal Oak, Michigan, and just how he's connected with other officials. I feel like, if I leave the house or if I go somewhere, that my dad might try to, have me picked up or have me arrested just for even something menial, but just because he has the power and the people in his pocket to be able to do so. So, I'm scared because I know my dad has gotten away with this for so long, and he's not going to want to go to jail. So I wouldn't put anything past him to try and stay out of jail, even if that meant, doing something to me or harming me to where this testimony couldn't be shared further. I found out when he paid so many people off, he paid CPS, and that made sense. And now, my siblings are being forced, my siblings that live with him still, they're being forced to lie and to cover for them. He's threatening them that they can't call him a criminal even though they know he is. They can't call him a sex offender even though they know he is. So they've even had to come out and lie and protect him. But I know they're just scared because this is the same dad, the same guy that I know that abused me and then also abused them, and they still have to live with him.
So how do they get this thing? I'm a criminal. Okay?
You've gotten away with it for so long.
That statement right there, I've provided you guys everything, and nobody's given me the benefit of the doubt. Nobody's saying, my dad is a good dad.
You can't buy us with money.
Exactly. And so that's where things are going to drastically change. Life, as you know, is over. Your phone will be disconnected today. You'll no longer have devices. You most likely will be going to public school. You'll have no car. You'll have no basketballs. You'll have no extracurricular activities. You'll go to school. You'll come home from school. Life as you guys know it is over.
Even, he's been getting other people involved in this too, to bring, they've been threatening the man of God's life, Apostle David E. Taylor. And just so you're aware, there are others who, are working with my dad and aiding and abetting him. Larry Lunsford, Pastor Kurt Malese, Billy Lisa Hody, Chris Goodwin, Chris Sorensen, Nettie Parks, Kimberly Ruby, Paul Wilkerson, Michael Johnson Sr., Carolyn Wilson, Kelly O'Connor, Thomas Sanchez, Megan Kirby, Melissa Coleman, Sam and Christine Elledge, Marlon Reed, Jeremiah Upshur, Steve Upshur, Jennifer LeClaire. And so all of these names have been given over to the FBI, and the FBI said that they would be indicted for any criminal behavior or hate crimes that they participated in. There's this one guy named Jeremiah Upshur and Jason Walters. They've threatened Apostle Taylor's life, and the people who go to the church there, they've threatened their life as well. And, even bomb threats saying if people come up here, well, we're gonna, stop everyone from coming up there. We're gonna blow it up. We'll come in and shoot them just so they can't be there. Just terrible things like that, and threatening the lives of people just trying to come to church. And even I know they've gone so far as to try to stalk the house, stalk Apostle Taylor and find the house and just that he lives at.
The one in Taylor we put out on the website. Back of the house with the swimming pool, that's it. That's on the website. The house they lived in St. Louis, we put it on the website. We put the address on the website. I put the wrong picture of his house.
This is the entrance. This is one road that goes back into David E. Taylor's townhouses. All right, Jeff and I are here. We are in David E. Taylor's apartment complex, townhouses, I believe what these are. This is it.
They've been, just stalking him. They're completely obsessed, but it's becoming violent. And my dad, he's getting these people involved because of his obsession, so he has the finances, he's helping support it, and he's connecting all these people together that just have violent, ulterior motives. And even, they bash Apostle Taylor on YouTube and social media, and it's even encouraging other people, like even strangers who don't really know what's happening, then they see these lies and, they might just be a violent person. And now they're threatening the man of God's life. They're threatening the people at this church's life. So it's getting really out of hand because of how my dad is supporting, this negative media, is paying for these Google ads, is paying for these websites, how he put up the deposition. It's really, there's people's lives are at stake here. And, even a couple of them, Jeremiah Upshur, and my dad, Rick Frazier, even decided recently to form a protest against the 2018 Crusade Against Cancer in Taylor, Michigan, to try to stop people from physically even going into the building.
I emailed Rick Frazier today about, what he wants to do, because really this was his idea to begin with. I said, hey man, look this over, because I want him to if JMMI, if we can catch them by surprise, which I'm hoping we do, I bet some of them are going to be so mad. They might come out and get themselves arrested. They might be so upset. Because see, my guys, they're the type that want to go and fight. They're the type that will start getting violent. So it's going to be kind of fun, actually. I'm starting to look forward to it. We're really going to push the envelope on this. I don't know. I'm just kind of looking forward to this. Rick and I were talking about the layout of the building yesterday and where the main entrances are. And we're just going to have our people all over the place, but especially by the entrances. And so Rick Frazier, his brother, is a police chief in one of the nearby cities. And so that's kind of the connection. Rick Frazier's brother is setting this up with the Taylor police. I'm like, yeah, man, let's go do this. Why not? I'm just going along with what he wants to do. Rick, he's the one lining up the police and all that.
So many people involved who have just helped my dad cover up and get away with these crimes. And so now I have proof of this, how he's been working. Even, his brother, I was scared before because his brother is the deputy chief of police in one of the cities here in Detroit. And so it's just so many people that I couldn't even go to that, you should be able to go to law officers and people of the government, but I couldn't because they were all in his pocket. And that's one thing, my dad, if there's a way, if he can buy someone off, he will do it. And so many people let him, they'll take his money just to let him go off and turn their cheek to look away from the crimes he's doing. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be bought off. Like some people here, there's this guy named Marlon Reed. He's a pastor here in Detroit, and he's been helping spread lies about this other pastor here, all just helping my dad so my dad can put these crimes on someone else. My dad, he even put up a website and he's telling people to call him and say that this is a cult. I heard him call some of the parents of the people who volunteer with the ministry. But thank God not all parents have believed him. But he's been calling and messing with even the families of the volunteers at the ministry. And a few have believed the lies that he's spreading. So now there's people, my dad, Jeremiah, Marlon Reed, and Jason Walters, there's people out here promoting on social media and YouTube and things like that JMMI and Apostle David E. Taylor, that this is a cult. That's crazy. First of all, if you even just look up the definition of a cult online, it's so vague. It literally just says a small group of people who have religious beliefs that other people disagree with or that differ from or are strange. If that's the definition for a cult that they're going by, you could call the Lutheran Church a cult, the Catholic Church a cult, a lot of the Christian sects out here a cult. Because, first of all, this isn't a small group. There are millions of people around the world who have been connected with this ministry There's people from all over the world who support Apostle Taylor and support JMI and support what God is doing here. So first of all, it's not a small group, so that takes out that part of the definition. Then also, religious beliefs that differ with other things. I mean, that's everything. Every person's beliefs differ with someone else. That's why it's your opinion and your belief. And so that's just crazy that they're out here saying it's a cult. But, this is Apostle Taylor, first of all. The other thing they're saying, like, we are worshiping Apostle Taylor and he's not letting you leave. First of all, you can leave freely. I went home, visited my family for a month. I leave whenever I want. I mean, I'm not serving and volunteering at this ministry at all under duress or, not of my own free will. I choose to be here because I see people's lives being changed. And, Apostle Taylor, I honor him because without, the sacrifices he's made, without him serving and promoting the gospel for over 25 years, so many souls would not have been saved. Even, my life personally, I've grown closer to the Lord because of just, the things that I've learned from him as my pastor and as an amazing teacher. I've learned so much, and just even being in the services, I was healed out of my wheelchair. And so my life has been changed, and this is not a cult. So when people are saying that, they're really just trying to, they know that a cult has a negative connotation. So they're just saying that, trying to make this seem something negative. But, you just need to seek out the truth, because that's not even, if you look up the definition of a cult, this doesn't even fit into it.
But no matter what my dad has tried to do to stop the ministry, God has the last word. And the ministry has actually increased by record-breaking numbers. I mean, the services, people are coming from all over the world, and what's happening is so amazing and miraculous. I mean, even since my dad has put out the lies and, instigated all this persecution against the man of God, the ministry has grown by over 10 times, and it still keeps growing today. But this is just proof and shows that because God is with Apostle Taylor and this movement, and so it can't be stopped just by a person, because this is God's. God is the one validating Apostle Taylor and proving that my dad, the lies that he's spreading, that they're untrue. And God's hand is on this, so, you gotta come out to the services, come out to the crusades, and experience this further yourself. You can't take someone else's word for it and miss out on something amazing.
So just seek out the truth, guys, and stop believing all the lies that these people are coming against the man of God with, coming against your ministry with. Because when you seek out the truth, the truth will prevail and you will be blessed.
I don't know how to hold no hate in my heart against anybody. And this man who's doing this, I still love him no matter what he's doing. And I want him to know I forgive him. I just want to hug Katie and Deborah just for closure. I love you guys. Come on, give God the glory.